Okay, let's unpack this one. We're diving into a pretty stark set of sources today.
Mm.
They detail what happens when that, fundamental financial confidence starts to fray.
Yeah,
The source material actually calls it the Great American Wager. Quite a title.
It is. And our job today, really, is to trace how that wager played out, focusing on the slow erosion of the dollar's dominance worldwide.
And what's interesting, as you mentioned before we started, is that this isn't presented as some sudden crash.
Yeah, not at all. It's a slow burn. The timeline they lay out runs from, 2028 to 2041.
Right.
And the whole thing is framed using systems thinking, these archetypes, like reinforcing loops and shifting the burden.
To show how a basic structural flaw leads to, well, they call it an inheritance of dust.
Pretty bleak.
It is. And the first hints, according to this, were back around 2028. Really small stuff.
Almost unnoticeable at first.
Yeah, like a few small countries deciding to settle their oil trades using something other than the US dollar.
And the reaction from the established financial centers.
Dismissal. Pretty much complete dismissal. Everyone was still banking on the old idea, the strong dollar magnet.
That assumption that there was just no alternative.
Exactly. Which I guess leads right into the systemic problem you mentioned.
It really does. That certainty was the problem, in a way. The nation was stuck deep in that shifting the burden archetype, meaning it kept treating the symptom, its constant need for capital, by just borrowing more money. That was the easy fix.
So that's the reinforcing loop, R1. Borrowing feeds the need to borrow more.
Precisely. You're just, kicking the can down the road, papering over the cracks,
Mhm.
while ignoring the real disease, the ever-growing national debt.
But wait, isn't that fairly standard fiscal policy for governments? How did that suddenly turn toxic?
Well, it works only as long as everyone believes it works, as long as there's trust. When that trust started to waver, when questions about long-term fiscal discipline cropped up, that's when the second reinforcing loop, let's call it R2, the confidence inflation loop, that's when it turned vicious.
Okay, so confidence drops.
The dollar softens, and suddenly, inflation isn't just some background noise percentage point.
It becomes, what was the phrase? A thief in the night.
Exactly, siphoning off value day by day.
And not just hurting Wall Street types, right? This hits imports.
Absolutely. Critical things people need. Medicines become more expensive. A new TV, sure, but also essential tractor parts for farmers. Just basic stuff soaring in price.
So when the pain gets that real, that local, something has to give. The correction had to come.
Oh, it came. When things got bad enough, the system did try to correct itself. That's the balancing loop. B3, the inflationary correction.
But it wasn't gentle.
No, it was brutal. The Fed basically panicked. They jacked up interest rates to levels nobody had seen in ages, trying desperately to defend the currency.
The cure, but maybe worse than the disease in the short term.
For many, yes. The dosage was extreme. It stopped the bleeding, perhaps, but it also put the patient, the economy, into shock.
And the sources give a really concrete example of the human cost here.
They do. Arthurstown.
Right. The town's last factory making auto parts just shut down.
Couldn't afford the financing anymore. Those sky-high interest rates made it impossible to operate. Overnight, gone.
And that hollows out the whole community, doesn't it?
Completely. Job losses cascade.
Yeah.
Young families like Arthur's granddaughter Lily and her husband, they had to leave, pack up, move away, looking for work that was getting harder and harder to find anywhere.
Just devastating. So let's fast forward then. Where does this leave things by 2041?
Well, the global financial system described is fractured, shattered really. That unified structure, gone.
Replaced by...
A kind of chaotic patchwork. Regional currency blocks,
Right.
competing systems. The dollar isn't gone, not entirely, but its unique status, that's history.
It's become, as they put it, just one among many.
In a much messier world.
And that ending is so poignant. Arthur, the grandfather, giving Lily that old coin.
A 20th century silver dollar.
Yeah.
Heavy, tangible.
Yeah, representing something solid, something trustworthy that people, all over the world had built their lives and futures on.
A promise that was broken. And Arthur's words.
We kept the party going by borrowing from your future. Chilling.
It really lands, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And if you, listening, take one thing away, it should be this. The crisis wasn't sudden. It wasn't a meteor strike.
It was slow, predictable, maybe.
Based on these system dynamics, arguably, yes. It was a slow decay. It came from years of ignoring the underlying problem, the debt, while just treating the symptom, the need for easy money.
So the story ends with this heavy, physical silver coin, a symbol of lost trust, lost stability. Which leaves us with a question for you. If trust is the bedrock, What does it mean for your future when stability isn't represented by solid silver anymore, but by, I don't know, confusing digital barter systems and local scribit? What does trust even look like in a system that's fractured into dust?